Photo backgrounds for your model railroad can add a lot to any layout. My layout is very fragmented within the space of my office. Some elements exist for no other reason to get the train from one place to another. One corner of the office is devoted to a potash mine, which is a Walthers coal mine kit. I weathered it, rebranded it to be Taggarts Potash Ltd, and envisioned it to be located in a place like Moab, Utah, where there is a real potash mine. I wanted a photo backdrop to enhance the scene, but I didn't want to drive to Moab to get the photos for the background. One of the most beautiful places in New Mexico is 50 miles south of Chama, near Abiquiu. Known as Ghost Ranch, it was home to Georgia O'Keeffe in the later part of her life. I spent a week attending a church camp there when I was a kid, and our cabin counselor was an avid birdwatcher and taught us many things about birds and the habitat they live in. It gave me an appreciation for Ghost Ranch, and I enjoyed driving past it every time we head to Chama to video the Cumbres Toltec. The weather in the spring is dicey, but there was a 2-day period when it wasn't going to be rainy and windy, so we made reservations at the Abiquiu Inn and then drove the short distance to Ghost Ranch. About a mile from the entrance is an old homestead cabin where we parked while Diana and Sydney walked around. I launched the drone and shot 4 5-shot auto-exposure bracketed photos that I would merge into 4 HDR photos and then merge into a single panorama. After measuring the wall space behind the mine, I concluded that I needed the photo to be 24 inches by 118 inches. After shopping around, I found posterprintshop.com and ordered a matte photo. I also ordered 4 24 by 40 inch foam core boards and spray photo adhesive. To say I was nervous would be correct. I've mounted and mounted many photos, but nothing like this. Their service was incredibly fast, and 3 days later I had all the materials. The foam core had to be cut around the back of the model because it was against the wall. After mounting the photo on the boards with some help from my wife, I cut the photo to match the foam core and then put it into place. We placed the photo behind the model and everything fit perfectly and looked amazing. The back corner is curved a bit, which I wanted. There are a couple small imperfections, but nothing significant. When I'm photographing trains on the layout, I use a high f-stop, at least f16, which makes for about a half-second exposure time. This avoids the out-of-focus areas that are typical of most model railroad photos. I always use a tripod with a shutter timer for about 10 seconds. Push this shutter release and 10 seconds later it takes the photo. I use an old Nikon D3200 with an 1875 zoom. Shooting around 35mm works pretty well. I use Photoshop or Lightroom to adjust the exposure, color balance, and remove spots or imperfections. The scenery I created matches the background pretty well, and it's hard to tell which is which in some of the photos. I hope you've enjoyed this video and will subscribe to the channel.